Hi, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be doing a full healthy hair reset, like everything shower kind of vibes. And I'm also going to be answering your questions. It's been so long since I've kind of like taken a moment to just kind of sit down and talk to you guys. So excited to catch you up and just feel like this is a fun, girly chit chat. I actually had a very impromptu lunch date with a friend last Friday, and that's actually what inspired this video. I have a lot to go through. There's some kind of juicy questions and kind of subjects I haven't touched on in a long time. So today's video is in partnership with Sally Beauty. Created a relaxing everything shower routine focused on a total healthy hair reset. If there is a place I've ever linked the most from, it is probably Sally Beauty. What better place to get good hair color, good hair care at affordable prices and accessible to the public. So for today's healthy hair reset, I'm going to be using Ion's Rapid Recovery Peptide Leave-In Treatment. I'm going to start with the Charcoal Detox Shampoo. It gently lifts impurities from the hair and scalp by removing buildup from styling products and environmental impurities. It also allows the follicles to receive needed nourishment, leaving your hair and scalp feeling clean, refreshed, and rejuvenated. Then I follow with Ion's pH Perfector Purifying Shampoo, powered by zeolite, a natural volcanic mineral that helps draw out impurities and buildup. This gentle pH balance formula is ideal for daily use and post-treatment care. And when paired with the Ion's Rapid Recovery Leave-In Treatment, it helps restore and strengthen the hair, leaving it softer, healthier, and more resilient from the very first use. And again, this is for my detox and reset everything shower kind of routine. For everyday use, I'd be using the pH Perfector Purifying Shampoo. And only when you want to fully remove all that gunk from your hair are you going to use the Charcoal Detox Shampoo. So the Rapid Recovery Peptide Treatment is a professional grade structural repair and an intensive reset to damaged hair. And this is why we skip conditioner and go straight in with the peptide treatment. You want your hair fully cleansed with the pH balancing shampoo, followed by the leave-in treatment. If you color your hair or use heat tools, it's an absolute must to give your hair a reset. They get premium results, a fraction of the price, because Ion 24K delivers salon quality peptide repair without the salon price tag. And the Hero leave-in treatment transforms hair in just 3 minutes. It creates the perfect foundation for any healthy hair routine. It'll make the hair more manageable, more easy to style, and most importantly, more resilient. The Ion's intensive structural treatment, it creates the perfect foundation for any healthy hair routine. It mimics natural keratin to deeply repair and rebuild hair from within. It restores, strengthens, and structures without silicones. It's 100% vegan, clinically tested, and made in Italy, and it delivers results from your first use. And Ion 24K products are available only at Sally Beauty. So visit Sally Beauty to get the salon level technology at an accessible price. You can find links and more info in the description. Absolutely spent upwards of $100 on peptide treatment. It's a affordable price. I'm definitely a believer. All right, now that our hair is reset, let's get into some juicy questions. This actually feels really nice. I never in the middle of the day do like a full shower routine. My child's at school. It's a beautiful day. This feels like such a treat. All right, so let me pull up your questions. Here we go. I thought we were over this question, but we're not. So, do I want more kids? It used to be, do you want kids, for like 10 years, and now it's, do you want more kids? I'm honestly actually not offended by this question. I know a lot of women are. I really am not. I just find it funny like how often it comes up. And the truth is that I'm open to either outcome. We're very happy with one child right now. Amelia's perfect and amazing, and I can't imagine even topping that. And I know everyone says like, yes, you love your second just as much. And I know that that would be true, of course. But I feel like we have such a good routine right now that we're so happy with how things are. I feel like for such a big life decision like this, I feel like I'm leaving it up to the universe. And I don't know if that's like a cop-out answer, but that's truly how I feel. If I were to get pregnant today, I would welcome that and be so happy. Would I purposely try and get pregnant right now? not this second. But also given my age, I also feel like we either need to get on it, otherwise it's probably not going to be a possibility. Amelia the other day asked, she was like, I want you to have a baby, but not right now. Can you just have one when I'm an adult? I was like, that's not how it works. I think by the time you're an adult, it'll be your turn. Anyway, so not to have a complicated answer, I'm not trying to avoid the question, but honestly, I feel like I'd kind of be happy either way. And that's why I'm not forcing or trying to push anything. So yeah, that's the answer for that. Next question, are you taking clients? And the answer is no, not at the moment. During COVID, I closed down my salon studio, and with the idea and hopes that I would get back into a salon routine within a couple of weeks. And then we realized, okay, maybe it's going to take a couple of months. I think I paid over 6 months of a salon lease that I wasn't using and wasn't making money for. So, and again, I've heard of way worse stories during that time, so I won't bore you with the details of that. But eventually when that lease was up, I got rid of the studio, which was like kind of like this was kind of like the time that people were slowly starting to get back. Salons were still super weird and people were still doing hair in like parking lots and stuff like that. But what I didn't want to do was sign another lease and be stuck into this leasing price for another year, not kind of knowing what was going to happen. And then 6 months after that, I got pregnant with Amelia. And at that point, I made the decision that I wanted to be a work from home mom, which at the time, I don't think that I knew what that entailed. I just thought it's like the natural, like if I'm not in a salon, like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create content from home and I'm going to take care of her. To this day, I still don't have a friend that does what I do. And I feel like it's amazing and there's like so many positives, but it's also really difficult. And I feel like I have no one else that I can, in person talk to that is going through the same thing. They're either working moms that whether they work from home or in an office, but their kids are away during that time that they're working. Like they have care for their child. Whereas we didn't have that for the first 3 years. Again, my decision. And this also came from the idea of, I don't know if I'm going to have another kid. And if I don't, I want to like just immerse myself completely into this experience. Now, had you asked me that a year even before getting pregnant, I would have always said, I will be a working mom. I will never be a stay-at-home mom. And I believe those words actually came out of my mouth many times before. And I didn't feel like that was me to like be a stay-at-home mom. And now being a work from home mom isn't that, but I think the part that makes it difficult is that and not to say that moms that are in an office don't feel this also, but I feel like we're supposed to work as if we don't have a child and we're supposed to parent as if we don't work, right? Like that's kind of how it feels when you are a work from home mom. With that being said, I took about, I want to say 1.5 years from doing clients at all and then started taking clients again. Now, in the meantime, I also started Virtual Consultations, which if you have a question, you want to actually speak to me in a video call, you can always email consultations@Ellebangs and I'd be happy to see you. So anyway, I'm doing that 1 day a week. So that's one form of how I take clients. That was the longest tangent on whether or not I'm taking clients. And yes, I have a private studio where I take a handful of clients at the moment, but not currently taking new clients. Next question was redheads. You never talk about redheads. And I think this is alluding to a video that I did earlier this year on hair trends. But yeah, anytime I don't talk about a trend, it doesn't mean that I don't think it's trendy or that I don't think it's beautiful. There are certain things that to me are just so classic. They're like, don't need to be mentioned. Like I think gray hair, if you choose gray hair, it's because it looks good on you. That's kind of my theory on gray hair. And for redheads, my only advice is to pick the right shade for you. I think we think that all reds are warm and they're really not. You can get the coolest red. And I think this is the biggest mistake that I see is someone actually with a warmer skin tone that favors warm kind of hair colors and they get a cool toned red. And I think like it makes the skin look kind of like muddy and gray, but because the color's kind of bright, it kind of like distracts. And I think That's where like the misconception is. Whereas I think anyone can like look at blonde and decide whether or not the blonde is right for them. Whereas I think like red, I think I see more mistakes with red than I do with blondes. Yeah. So my only advice is make sure you get a tone that suits your skin tone. And when in doubt, I actually think warmer reds almost always look more beautiful. It like gives your face like a creamy like complexion. Go with a warm. That's my advice. Next question is, where's Olive? Olive is thriving and living her best life. We used to take her to the dog park and we used to do like all these amazing things. We also lived in a condo. After Amelia was born, we moved to a house where the property actually has space for her to run around in. I would say an acre, half an acre. And so the property has a lot of space for Olive. So we take her less to the dog park and so on, because basically she has her own dog park in our backyard. But Olive will be 10 later this year. Can't believe that. Also, hi, if this is your first time here, Olive is our dog. She is a pit bull and border collie mix that we rescued almost 10 years ago. She was, I believe, 10 weeks old, and she's the sweetest, most perfect dog. All right, the next question was, how much does this cost? More importantly is, what are you starting with? Are you coming in with dark hair wanting this? Because it's going to be a completely different price. If you're very close to this and all you need is a toner, guess what? It's going to be under $200. So really what depends the most is what you're starting with. And secondly, where you're getting that service done. And I hate that that's like such an answer, but it truly is. And anytime that I see pricing of any salon service being shared online, like the comments are either, what are you talking about? So much more expensive where I live, or the opposite, like, what are you talking about? I've paid $60 for a haircut for like the last 10 years. I've heard like clients saying like, oh, like you need to charge that because like that's what your mortgage costs. And it's like, no, that's what the lease of this place costs in order for me to come into work so I can do your hair. So it's not about so I can live here. It's so I can work here. This is the price. The prices of everything have gotten absurdly insane. Like I can't even fathom sometimes. Essentially anything kind of like this would start at $550. And I don't know how I could do like my level of service at a cheaper price. And if we're on money, I think what a cosmetology license gives you the opportunity for is endless. Like you can do a million things with your cosmetology license. And I think that's what impressed me the most and like has always continuously like excited me to be in this industry. If we're talking about just only being behind a chair, I feel like you get to a limit of how much you can make. Renting out your space, you're buying all the products, you're in charge of, you know, your retirement, your benefits, all of that. Like even charging those high prices, you're still not making a ton of money. And I think this is the part that I think is really difficult for people because you're like, I don't get it. Like if you're charging $600 for an appointment, of course you're making a lot of money. You can make a great, decent living, but we're not charging $500 for hair color and living like millionaires. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, next question. Best round brush for an at-home blowout. I used to be a like metal round brush, like a titanium kind of a round brush. And over time, I've really fallen more in love with like a boar kind of bristle round brush where you use tension as opposed to the heated plate on the round brush. Okay, recommendations for brunettes. Turning gray at 30%. I hate it. So I used to be the only way to like fully cover gray is to go in with permanent color. I think color lines have gone such a long way. Doing a demi-permanent is actually one of my new favorite ways. And again, it depends on what you're looking for. Like if you don't want to see a gray in sight, then maybe semi-permanent is only going to give you like 2 to 3 weeks of that. I mean, a permanent color, you're still going to see the gray coming in the new growth, but at least what was covered will remain covered. But I also think using permanent color, if the only reason you're using permanent color is for the gray, then I kind of prefer demi-permanent. If you're using the permanent color to also lift your color, to lift your base and to cover the gray, and it's a base for a highlight, then I think permanent's fine. I'm loving a like semi-permanent color to blend / cover gray. Okay, this question's, I have a level 9 color on my hair and it's a little gold. Help. Okay, I think this is happening because you are lifting your hair color, your natural color, with a level 9. So if you are naturally a level 9 and you're using a level 9 for like coverage, or you have grays and you're wanting to stay at that level, then you're not going to see warmth per se. But if you're seeing a ton of gold, it's because you're trying to lift a ton of levels and you think that using a level 9 is going to give you a level 9. But what you're doing is you're lifting with color versus lifting with lightener, which is what you should be doing. So I'm assuming that's the reason why. So if anything, I would go down 1 or 2 levels, like either use an 8 or use a 7 and lift by adding a baby light or something. I think people think that like the only way to lift is like kind of in one go. A baby light can be used to like shimmer out a base, like meaning it's brightened up without like seeing actual like a stark highlight. You can lift with bleach without doing a full like bleach and tone. And anytime that you bleach, you actually have full control of that step. So trying to lift with color, in my opinion, is kind of like doing the step blindly, because essentially what it does is it lifts a little bit of your hair, but it also deposits color at the same time. But because it's doing two things almost at the same time, you don't get to see where one starts and where one begins. Whereas when you do that with lightener, you can see how much it's lifting. You can stop it by processing it less time, by using a different developer. And then once you get to the lift that you want, then you're able to tone exactly how you want. So you're in control of every single step, as opposed to like applying one formula and it trying to do kind of like 3 things at once. Even more complicated if there's gray present, because then you're treating essentially 2 distinctly different heads of hair with one color. So imagine one person came in with like fully gray hair and one person came in with brown hair. They would absolutely have different formulas, right? Whereas when someone has gray, you're essentially trying to tackle both of those things with the same color. And that's why what ends up happening is your base either becomes really red because you're probably using something that's too light for your level. All right, I think this will be the last question. Can you do a black hair with bob? It will be perfect for your hair. Ellebangs. Okay, so I'm assuming what they're saying is that I should get a black bob. Those 2 things, I love a bob if it's soft-ish, and black just would never work on me. And not that it like wouldn't suit my skin, not that I don't think it's beautiful on other people, but black is, I'm trying to think of like what other color. Like bleached and toned gray is probably the worst thing. I'd probably rather get black, jet black hair than I would having, you know what I'm talking about, like 10 years ago, like everyone wanted gray hair, but it was like bleached and kind of yellow, but then they would like tone it really gray. That, in my opinion, is the worst hair color. So that would be the last thing I would get. A black bob is pretty high on my no list. I mean, never say never, but probably gonna say you're probably not gonna see me in a black bob unless it's a wig for something fun. So those are all the questions for now. Thank you to everyone that shared their questions. I hope you had fun. If you have a question that I didn't answer, please leave it down below. Don't forget to check out Sally Beauty and Ion 24K. All information is in the description box, and I'll see you in the next one.